Eric Farnsworth is Vice President of the Americas Society and Council of the Americas and joins me now. It's good to have you with us. You tweeted at one point, in your words, none of this is a surprise. How much do you think the opposition, though, is preparing for this moment, and are they handling it as you would expect?
Hi, Erica. Thanks for having me back. No, it's not a surprise. In fact, this is a playbook that dictators use all over the world, but has been almost perfected now in Venezuela, going back actually several months when the groundwork began to be laid for a stolen election. So although it's not a surprise, it doesn't mean that the reaction today has been necessarily one that is going to change the results on the ground, because Nicolás Maduro is moving quickly to consolidate now his claim for another presidential term, and really is flat-footing everybody else. So he's moving quickly. There just isn't a lot of time for people to sit around and say, well, we need to see vote counts and things like that. That's what you would do in a normal scenario. But the time is really getting away from us quite quickly.
The Carter Center is set to offer, its findings tomorrow morning. I noted what we're hearing from the UN in terms of what other nations are saying, other leaders are saying. Do you believe that you're hearing enough?
Well, it's a great question. I mean, transparency really is the issue. The vote totals have to be revealed. All of the independent and credible pre-election polling indicated that Edmundo González would win in a cakewalk. And in fact, the exit polls from yesterday indicate that he did with, as you mentioned, 70% or so of the vote. The vote totals that were announced by the government's own electoral commission had Nicolás Maduro at just over 50%. In fact, 51.2% to be precise. And so this is something that, again, is just on its face absurd. And so many of the governments internationally have been prepared to say, at a minimum, well, wait a minute, this doesn't compute with what we understood was going to happen. We need to see some evidence for how the CNE or the Electoral Commission actually came to these conclusions. And so you've had Secretary of State Tony Blinken say that in Tokyo. You've seen other government leaders, but then you've also seen, China and Cuba and Bolivia have come out to offer their strong congratulations for the re-elected Nicolás Maduro. So this is not something where the international community is completely unified. And in fact, that's part of the outcome that we expected as well. So it's going to get increasingly murky. Having said that, the one thing I should add is that the longer this goes, the more likely it is that you're going to have some real problems at the street level. In fact, we're already starting to see some street protests. Then the government will have to decide, do they put it down with force or not?
Well, and we're seeing, I'm not sure if you heard this, but I do want to play this just a short time ago, the Attorney General actually warning of consequences for those protesting. Take a quick listen.
Advertimos que los acts of violence and cause to ignore the official results can be framed in the crimes of public instigation, obstruction of public roads, resistance to authorities, and incitement to hatred, with a sentence of 10 to 20 years.
So there's this threat of 10 to 20 years, and yet, as you noted at one point, one of the big differences in this election was hope. What you saw is the hope there. So I wonder, even with that threat that people on the ground are hearing, how does that hope translate in this moment and moving forward in terms of perhaps resistance or a stronger call from voters that they're not just going to put up with what they're told happened if they believe it was actually something else?
Yeah, this is a critically important point. What happens, again, at the street level? What happens by the Venezuelan people who clearly got robbed of their voice in terms of who their next government leadership will be? We have to put this in context. This isn't the first time this has happened. This has been consistent across 25 years of Chavista governance in Venezuela. This is just the latest example, and it's probably the most blatant example because, yes, for the first time in memory, or at least in several years, the Venezuelan people had a true hope that this time could be different, that this time you could vote for meaningful change that would bring in a new democratically elected government. The Nicolás Maduro has said, no, that's not going to happen. And so he's taken away that hope in one fell swoop. That leads to frustration. That leads to people saying, well, wait a minute, I've got a choice. And those who will decide to fight will have to decide, and I'm not talking with arms or anything like that. In fact, they don't have arms. The government is the ones with the weapons. But will they go to the streets? Will they protest? Or will they choose to flee? And I think what we're going to see now is the potential for yet another wave of migration coming out of Venezuela. The country has already lost a quarter of its population, some 8 million people, many of those people heading to the United States and elsewhere. So this quickly becomes an election issue here in the United States as we look at our own elections in November.
Well, you read my mind. You read my mind on that one, because that was the final point I wanted to get you on, is in fact the impact, right? The impact on migration, the impact potentially on the U.S. southern border and immigration here, and just how closely this is being watched by the United States as they make these calls.
It's being watched very closely, and it should be, because, again, we've got some experience. This could be yet another wave. But the issue that I think also needs to be raised is this is truly a regional issue. I mean, look, there are millions of Venezuelans right now next door in Colombia, in Brazil, in Chile, and Peru. And we have a struggle necessarily in the U.S. to sometimes acclimate recent arrivals here in this country. We can imagine the difficulties that other countries without our resources have as well. So this is a regional issue, and frankly, regional leaders, in my view, need to stand up and do more to really insist that democracy be returned to Venezuela.
And we'll be watching for those responses in the coming hours and days. Eric Farnsworth, great to have you with us this afternoon. Thank you.